Hey guys, today we're going to be making this awesome hook-only bracelet, which is for St. Patrick's Day. This is the Celtic Pat, and it was designed by CCLooms_23. She has her own YouTube channel and Instagram, and I will be linking both down below. I highly encourage you to go check out her YouTube. She's been looming since about 2023 and already has some really awesome designs, including this one here. I'm going to show you the back side really quick. You can see here that it has like this stitch running up it. We actually do that at the end of the bracelet. And because we have to stitch that up, as we're making it, those bands kind of are really loose. So don't let that deter you at all. We fix that in the end. And also it can shrink your bracelet just a tiny bit. So keep that in mind. The band breakdown is going to differ based on how many colors you use, but I'm going to give you the band breakdown for this one. You're going to need about 189. That includes 98 of the border, 19 of the white, 36 of the orange, and 36 of the neon green. You definitely want a double-ended hook for this design and one C-clip, and we can get started. So to get started, I have my double-ended hook ready, and we're going to choose the green border. It also sits in the very center. I'm going to use opaque green, and we're going to be starting by doing a 10 loop setup. So we'll start by twisting the first one on like a figure 8, creating a cat band. Then we're going to use the same color and pull this one through the whole cat band. Before closing it, pick up the left side of the cat band, get it back on your hook, and then close it off. Make sure you do keep it in that order. We're now going to be pulling 3 bands onto each side. So we're going to pull this first one through the first 2, skip the first, pick up the outside band, and then close it. We're going to do that 2 more times. So you're going to pull it through the first 2, skip the first, pick up the outside one and close it. And 1 more time. Pull it through 2, pick up the outside band and close it off. We're going to slide it down and turn it around. We're going to grab this last band on here because we need to take it off for just a second. You're going to carefully scoop down and pick up the other part of the cat band and get that back on your hook. Close it off, keep that in that order. And now we can pull 3 bands onto this side. And we're going to do that the exact same way. So we're going to pull it through 2. And you're going to just reclaim the very outside band and then close it off. It's very repetitive when you start a hook only. So pull it through 2. Reclaim the outside band, close it off, and 1 more time. Once you have them all pulled through, this is what a 10 loop setup looks like. So now we're going to move on and grab a new color, which is going to be the white that sits right here in the center. I'm going to stick with that white. We're going to pull this through the first 8. We're going to skip the first 2, and we're going to reclaim the 3rd and the 4th. Skip the 5th and the 6th, pick up the outside 2, close it off, and pull it to the center. It rearranges on its own, but that's what it should look like. Now we're going to grab the orange. And I do like to do one side at a time. It is about 4 steps, but I find it easier to do one side at a time. So with this orange, we're going to pull it through the first 3. We need to reclaim the first band closest to the hook, skip the second, reclaim the outside band, and then close it off. It is important that these 2 bands stay in that order, so I like to hold it with my finger. And now we're going to rearrange the outside too, because we want the orange to be the second band in, like that. So we're going to switch colors again, and that is going to be the neon green. The band that we pulled through right now is also the band that gets stitched up the back later. So as we make the bracelet, the band that we're pulling through right now is going to be very loose. Your bracelet's going to look messy, but trust the process. It comes out beautiful in the end. Okay, so we're going to pull this through the first 4. We need to reclaim the first band closest to our hook, skip the second, and reclaim the outside 2. Close it off. Once again, make sure that these 2 stay in that order, so I like to hold them. And we're going to rearrange these 2 right here to sit on the outside of that yellowy green, like that. Now we're going to be pulling 2 border bands through, one at a time though. So for the first one, We're going to pull it through 4. We're going to skip over the first 2. Sometimes you have to use your hook to move that second one. Pick up the outside 2 and close it. Grab your border band and we're going to pull this through the first 3. You're going to skip over the first 2, pick up the outside one and close it off. We're going to slide it down and turn it around. And we're going to do the same process on this side. So we'll grab that orange. We're going to pull this through the first 3. We need to reclaim that first one. Skip over the second and pick up the outside one and close it off. Remember to keep these 2 in that order. So I like to pull it a little bit and then I hold it with my finger. Now you can rearrange so that the orange is the second band in. We're going to grab our neon color now. We're going to pull this through the first 4. We need to reclaim that first one closest to our hook. Skip over the second one, reclaim the outside 2, and close it off. Pull that neon so these 2 don't get out of order. I like to hold it. We're going to rearrange the outside 2 so that the yellowy color is the third band in. We're going to grab 2 border bands so we have them ready. We're going to pull the first one through the first 4. We're going to skip over the first 2, but you might have to use your hook to move the second one. Reclaim the outside 2 and close it off. We're going to grab our last border band and pull it through the first 3. Skip over the first 2 and reclaim just the outside band and then close it off. Now we are at the point where we can start the actual pattern. So to start the next section, I'm going to use my border color, but if you want the center to be a different color there, you can grab a different color right now. I'm going to have it all match. So we're going to be pulling this through the first 8. We're going to skip over the first 4 and we're going to reclaim the outside 4 bands, get them all back on your hook and then close it off. We need to rearrange it for that green that we just pulled through to sit in the middle, like that. So now we're going to go back to our white that sits in the center. We're going to pull this through the first 8. We're going to skip over the first 2. We're going to reclaim the 3rd and the 4th, which is the 2 middle bands. Skip the next 2 and just pick up the outside 2. Close it off. And you want that to sit in the center, which once again kind of does it on its own like that. We're going to grab our orange. We're going to pull this through the first 3. We need to reclaim the first one closest to our hook. Skip the second and reclaim the outside one. And then close it off. Pull that orange so these 2 stay in that order. Rearrange the outside so that it's sitting as the second band in. I'm going to grab my neon now. We're going to pull this through the first 4. We're going to reclaim the first one closest to our hook. Skip the second, pick up the outside 2, and close it off. I like to pull on that because once again we need these 2 here to stay in that order, but we want the outside bands rearranged. So pop those 2 over so that that neon is the 3rd band in. And now we're going to grab 2 borders so we have them ready. We're going to pull the first one through the first 4. We're going to skip over the first 2 and reclaim the outside 2 and then close it off. We're going to grab our last border for this side, pulling it through the first 3 and just reclaim the very outside band and then close it off. Slide it down and turn it around and we're going to work on this side. So now we're going to grab the orange and we're going to be pulling it through the first 3. You're going to pick up the first one, skip the second, pick up the outside one, and close it off. I'm going to pull that orange before I lose it. Make sure you keep those 2 in that order, and then rearrange the outside 2 so the orange sits like so. I'm going to grab my neon. We're going to pull this through the first 4. We're going to reclaim the first one closest to our hook. Skip the second, pick up the outside 2, and close it off. Pull that neon so these two stay in that order and rearrange these two to sit on the outside like that. We're going to grab 2 borders one at a time. We're going to pull this first one through the first 4. We're going to skip over the first 2, reclaim the outside 2, and close it off. We're going to grab our last border and pull it through the first 3, and just reclaim the very outside band and close it off. We just completed our second section. So as I may have said earlier, these neon bands, we have to stitch in the very end. You're going to notice your bracelet's going to look messy, and it even kind of distorts a little bit. Like sometimes I notice it like twists and it just looks like, oh, did I do something wrong? But you didn't. Chances are you did not do anything wrong. It's just going to look a little funky until the end. So I'm going to show you that again. And once again, we're going to start the pattern all over again. So I'm going to grab my center border color. We're going to pull that through the first 8. Skip over the first 4 and reclaim the outside 4. Close it off. Rearrange it so that sits in the very center. Like that. Grab your white or whatever you used for that center band. We're going to pull it through 8. We're going to skip the first 2 and we're going to reclaim the 3rd and the 4th, which are the 2 middle. Skip the next 2 and reclaim the outside 2. Close it off and rearrange it to sit in the middle. We're going to go to our orange now. We're going to pull that through the first 3. We're going to pick up the first, skip the second, pick up the 3rd, which is the outside band, and close it off. Pull it so this does not get out of order. You have to rearrange these 2, but mine already rearranged. You want the orange to be the second band in. So we're going to grab our neon now, and we're going to pull this through the first 4. Once again, we're going to pick up the first, skip the second, pick up the outside 2. Close it off, make sure these stay in that order, but rearrange these ones so it's the 3rd band in. We're going to grab a border. You're going to pull it through the first 4. We're going to skip the first 2 and we're going to pick up the outside 2. Like that. Close it off. Grab one more border. You're going to pull it through 3 and just reclaim the very outside band and then close it off. We're going to slide it down and repeat on this side. So we're going to grab our orange. We're going to pull it through the first 3. We're going to pick up the first one closest to our hook and also the outside one. Close it off. Make sure these stay in that order right here. Rearrange the outside 2. Grab your neon and pull that through the first 4. Pick up the first one closest to your hook. Also pick up the outside 2 and then close it off. Keep these 2 in that order and rearrange it so that neon is the 3rd band in like so. We're going to grab 2 of our borders. The first one we're going to pull through the first 4. We're going to skip over the first 2 and pick up the outside 2. There we go. Close it off. And lastly, we're going to pull this through the first 3. Skip the first 2, reclaim the outer one, and then close it off. And we're ready to start the pattern again. So I'm actually going to put a timestamp right here. You guys are going to keep watching from that time. Keep repeating the same instructions until your bracelet is long enough to fit your wrist. Then we're going to come back. I'm going to show you how to close it up, and then we're also going to stitch up these yellow bands to officially finish off the bracelet. So I'm going to hop off screen, get mine a little longer, and then I will meet you back here. Alrighty, so I made mine a little bit longer, just enough to show you guys what to do. We should all be at the same point. What we're going to do is grab our center border color. So it's whatever color you used right here in the center. And we're going to do 2 more steps the same way we did during the bracelet. So with this color, we're going to pull it through the first 8. We're going to skip over the center 4 and we're going to reclaim just the outside 4. Get them all back on your hook, close it off, and rearrange that to sit in the very center. Like that. Grab whatever color you used where my white is. And we're also going to pull this through the first 8, the same way we did it when we were making it. We're going to skip over the first 2. We're going to pick up the 3rd and 4th, and also pick up the outside 2. Close it off and center it. Now we're going to pull 1 band through everything on our hook, and we're going to C-clip it. Pull it through everything. Bring both ends together, and we are going to C-clip that for now, like so. So now we need to stitch up these neon yellowy green bands. It does not matter which side you do it from. Now you can use the double-ended hook that you were using, or you can use a regular hook. I like the regular hook because the head is a little bit bigger, but it doesn't really matter. So the one thing I do want to say that I think makes this part easier is if you go through and pull these out some. I find it to make this part much easier. You don't have to do this. You can even use your hook to just go in and pull them out like this. It's these 2 yellow ones right in the middle. You'll know because they're very loose. All right, so once you have them pulled out, we're going to take our hook and starting at the bottom, since I'm right-handed, I always enter each row from the right side. So I'll come down to this first section, and I want them both on my hook. I entered from the right side, and now we need to come up and grab the next 2. So with these 2 on the hook, I just hold it with my finger, not that you really have to. Come up to the next row, and entering from the same side, I just go through the opening, get them both on the hook like that. So you should have 4 of them. We're just going to pull these first 2 through the second 2, and it just creates a little chain, like that. We're going to come up to the next row, and remember, always go in from the same side. If you're left-handed, you'll go the opposite direction. But I come over to the right, I go through both loops, get them both on. And now we're going to pull those 2 loops through the 2 loops that are on your hook. And we're just going to stitch them all the way up. Take your time, make sure you don't miss any. This is my last ones. You're going to have a lot more to do, but this is what it looks like once you have them all stitched. So once I do get to that last one, I like to pull on it a little bit to make it a little looser. And then I pick up my C-clip so I can locate that last band. I'm going to put my hook through the entire band that my C-clip is attached to. And you can temporarily take off that C-clip. And it should look like this right now. You're just going to pull these 2 green ones through the 2 that are on your hook from the chain. Like that. That's what it looks like from the front. And now we're going to re-C-clip this. Now what I will say is, by just C-clipping this, does not secure the green bands. And I'll show you what I mean. These neon bands can technically pop over. So once you get it C-clipped like that, you are going to want to get it attached to your cat band quickly so that doesn't unravel. The C-clip is kind of big, which is nice, but if you have a regular size C-clip, once you do that, that locks it in so it cannot unravel. Look at my little piece. It's like a little ring. I'm going to stick that to the side, but what I want to say is once you do have it C-clipped, you can go like this down the bracelet because from stitching it up, sometimes it gets really tight. So I like to do that just to help it, I don't know, stretch out a little bit and not be so tight. So that is how you create the amazing Celtic Pat bracelet created by the talented CCLooms_23 over on Instagram and on YouTube. Please remember to go check her out over on her YouTube page. Let her know down below what you think of this awesome St. Patrick's Day hook only design. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will see you all very soon at my next tutorial. Thanks guys. Bye.